I'm going to check on YouTube. There we go. And we look to be live.
Woohoo!
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Today I'm joined by the Forge of Mars, who painted this awesome Titan. So I saw it yesterday and figured, well, I'll try to paint it over today, and I'll see if he's available so I can practice some more live streaming with a guest. And here we are. Well, and thanks for joining us, Wolflord Lewis and DD606. Glad you could make it. Don't know how the Paintover will turn out, but the model looks really cool.
Thank you. It was a fun project, to say the least. It is the biggest thing I've ever built and painted. Okay. But after a lot of experience with painting its smaller cousins as well as Imperial Knights, once you've gained that sort of foothold.
You had quite a few of other knights painted, if I'm remembering correct, right?
I have a lot of not only sort of 28mm but also AT Adeptus Titanicus scale Knights, Titans. Some of the pictures I've posted recently, which were the Legio Fortidus, which were the orangey ones I painted over the weekend. They were my 81st Adeptus Titanicus models that I built and painted. Knights at the moment built and painted, I'm up to 137. I love this game. I love the models. They're excellent and awesome to work with. And once you built them, they just look the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, they really are. They're some of my favorites too.
It's like what dreams are made of. And you say that the big guys are even more impressive. To see these out on your workbench alone is like mind blowing. But I'm also part of the Titan Owners Club, where we normally, in the good old days, used to get a group of us turn up with all our Titans and have a massive battle. The last one we done, which was 2019 now, had, I think, around about 50 Titans involved.
Wow, that's a big fight
in total. And the gaming mat that we have was 52 feet by 16 feet, and we scaled it all up from Adeptus Titanicus and played it with Adeptus Titanicus rules. And oh my god, it was just amazing to be part of and to get these big guys out on the floor hammer, out on the battlefield, so to speak.
Yeah, you spend all that time, you want to play with them. Oh, okay. Hello, Headley Carter. Thanks for making it. I don't know if you can see the live chat on your end. Wolflord Lewis asks, just what is on that thing? It's got a power claw, I know for certain, but I'm not sure about the other three.
Yeah, it's the Ariok Power Claw, which on the flip side of it has Vulcan Megabolters, which the premise of it is that obviously when you're being punched or clawed with that thing, the Megabolters are firing into the wounds that you're causing to really chew it all up. Its main weapon on its right arm is now you always have to say this, in my opinion, you got to say it by its full name, which is the Sun Fury Plasma Annihilator, because it just sounds badass when you say, I'm using the Sun Fury power of the Plasma Annihilator, and I'm going to shoot you with it. It is just such a awesome weapon, which you can die from like with all plasma weaponries in the game system.
Yeah.
But it is just a lovely weapon. And when I saw they were bringing that weapon out several years ago now, one of the Warhammer Forge World Open days, they showed it off, and I thought, I've got to have it when I grow up and I can have a Titan of my own. I knew that I had to have that power claw and that weapon. Pardon me, sorry.
Yeah. Sometimes
and on the roof, you've got the las blasters, which are just devastating. Rip through shields and armor alike at range. So it's got a nice mix of everything.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for joining us, Greg Smith. Appreciate it.
Oh, hello, Greg. It's a friend. He's been painting some Titans using my schemes recently, and he's been giving me a lot of love, and it's very appreciated. So thank you, Greg. I'm just trying to get on to
a lot of helpful people in this community. I'm just trying to erase this outline. It'll be a slow start. There's some erasing. I should have had some of it done earlier, but got a little busy. So it might take a bit to get this actually started. But how long did it take you to like make this thing?
All in all, it was about a month's work.
Okay. Yeah.
From start to finish. I took a break from social media over a sort of a Christmas period. I'm trying to think. Christmas of 2018. I just felt a little bit of burnout, really. So I came off and got myself sorted out with a rather nice Titan. Picked it up from Warhammer World itself.
Oh yeah, I've never been. One day I got to do it.
So so I was just clicking onto the YouTube, and I just was getting feedback. Apologies.
Right on. Yeah. Hello, Tom Williamson. Yeah, I get like distracted by doing this, and I don't check it sometimes. But I like the feedback from everyone. How to do it.
Right. Yeah, so I'm just putting it onto my phone so I can actually
see it
see what people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's Wolflord Lewis, Headley Carter, Tom Williamson.
I'm trying to get through this erasing part fast so we can actually do something. Like I wish I got to plan these more, but part of me, I don't even want to do it because it like puts more pressure on myself. So I'll be like, all right, let's see what happens. Because I had some great ideas like in my mind, but they're not formulated. So I see all this cool stuff when I see this Titan walking, but I have no idea what it's going to be or if I can pull it off, but such is life.
Well, I tend to just fly by the seat of my pants in most projects anyway, because sometimes when you're just overthinking it, you make more problems for yourself over the long term.
I agree with that completely. That was part of my exercise when I started doing all these. It was like, just do it fast, like get them done and go, and you'll learn and get better. Like if I start stressing over little things, it goes nowhere fast.
Oh, I would say Wolflord Lewis asked a question saying, I heard something about Titans coming in wooden boxes. I think that was maybe in the very early days when certain models from like GW or Forge World or Armorcast used to make the bigger scale things. Like there was a metal Thunderhawk originally, and that came in a big wooden box. These ones just come in rather nice big cardboard boxes with lots of packaging inside to protect them. With the Warlord, you get 2 boxes about that sort of size.
Wow.
So yeah, and then obviously you've got to get the weapons as well, which come in their own little boxes, and then the head, because that head that this one's got is the exclusive one that you can only get from the Forge World store in Warhammer World.
Okay. So that's why it's such a cool looking one. I was like, man, this thing is awesome. And
yeah, it's the other thing I like about this actual head. One of my friends who works for Games Workshop, he when they first released it, he sent me a picture because you get like the little instruction booklet inside. It actually had a little bit of fluff written there, and it stated that these heads were the Mars beta pattern head for the Warlord
that's
Titan.
kind of cool that in those instructions they had like a little piece of lore in it. That's fun.
Yeah, and it also went on to say that they were sort of more commonly seen on the Titans of the Legio Ignatum, who are these guys, the Fire Wasps. So it's just like, well, I've got to have it now. So yeah, it was such an awesome little, because as you say, those little fluff bits that you get every now and again just adds more to the hobby. It boosts the imagination.
For anyone joining us, this is the Forge of Mars. We'll do the little pop-up. Oh, I'm learning. And I'm trying to get through this Paintover. That was the big excitement, a big pop-up. Ta-da!
Ooh, look at that. It's so large.
And I'm working on not speaking like a spaz, and I'm going to chill out with the likes. So that's what, besides doing a Paintover, that's what I'm working on. That is my plan for this. And you got to set up, I got to figure out like a camera setup if I ever do for showing me. You got something already planned out there, so that worked good. Your camera setup looks cool. And you got books. That's something nice. I'm like sitting in like a big old lazy boy and it would just be bad photo. And I'm like, okay, I'd have to move and do some stuff and shave.
yeah. I'm naked from the waist down. But no, it was. I'm thinking like, well, I normally paint in the kitchen on a dining room table, and I thought, well, I could paint there and sit there and join you, but then I'd be getting other people, cats, dogs, all the time. The other alternative was from my bedroom, which is not exactly exciting to say the least. Yeah, join me in my boudoir. But yeah, so I took the office because it looks, I say, a little bit more interesting with Carl Jung and Freud and everything.
Yeah. So John Decker says, Lee, I just checked and you haven't bought any Titans today. Are you feeling okay?
Yes. Yes. He's another friend of mine.
Right on. Thanks for joining us.
He's a cheeky scamp. No, I haven't. So I have to keep John Decker in the lifestyle that he's accustomed to. I'm down to my last Titan at present. So out my stockpile of grey plastic of shame pile, I've only got one Warbringer left. Maybe because I'm holding back on spending because of the new War Master Titan that's coming out. Because
there's a new one coming out?
Yeah, it's bigger than this. In a Decta Titanica scale, I'll just get that out there. It's only AT scale at the moment. You never know. They may make it in big guy size, because this chap that you're playing with at the moment, when he's assembled, is about 24 inches tall.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering. Wow, that's
crazy. It's about 7 to 8 kilos to sort of pick up. So yeah, he had to be sort of careful as well, because
for sure.
the storage. He comes apart. Obviously, magnets on the waist, so you can put him in this storage silo, aka a box. But yeah, he's a beast of a machine, of a model, I should say. Actually, it's such a lovely kit. And to say, if you take your time with these, like several of my friends have got these. Some of them even have two of these
Wow.
because they love the model so much. They've just gone all in with them, and you know, it does keep you occupied for a good long while building these things.
The only thing I had, I don't know if it was Forge World then or if it was Armor Cast. I don't remember, but it was like the first. It was from them, and it was the Warhound Titan, and I got one of those way back in the.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was 80s or 90s, but of course, never got put together or painted.
Yeah. Now the old Armor Cast. My friend Mike has one of them, and the Armor Cast Reaver he acquired from eBay like a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, they were the original big guys, and then obviously as Forge World progressed with their productions and sculpts, and they started producing like this fella, which is, as I say, the sense of satisfaction you get from not only building the big ones, but the small ones, the AT scale ones, because they're about 6 inches tall.
Yeah, they still look good. They look all. I like the look of these things.
Oh, they are just fantastic, and I've said to hundreds of people that once you build it, you'll just sit back and you'll look at it and you'll just go like, "I've got myself a Warlord."
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what size it comes in.
No,
It's a Warlord Titan, and it's iconic. So you just can't, you just can't, get away from it. It's just one of those things from the 40k universe that everybody knows what it is, and it just looks the part once you get down to it. So Pascal Press Setia, how do I store the model? I was saying earlier, it comes apart, and I have 2 large boxes that are filled with foam pieces to store it in. It does the trick. Again, friends of mine have all bought the like armored carry cases that you can get, and they store them in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's
almost done with the tray sales. A little bit longer, and I'll have these part done so I can start coloring something and see how it goes. This is my like sort of half therapeutic time where I get ready for the stream by just erasing some stuff.
Well, that's what you find with the hobby. There's always something within the hobby where it could be something that everybody dreads. You always hear, like, especially with Adeptus Titanicus, everybody bemoans the amount of trim that you have to sort of paint up.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's everywhere. Unless you're certain Legios, such as the Legio Solaria, for example, they have silver trim. So where I spray my base color of lead belcher, rattle can lead belcher on all my Titans, and then work from there. You don't have to do much after that, apart from maybe just stick some shade over it, and it's done. You can dry brush a little bit of Iron Fang or Rune Fang, sorry, or Iron Breaker, just to give it a little bit of an edge to it. But yeah, it's a nice, although Solaria does have one of the more sort of prominent sort of color schemes, because it's a very speckly green and white sort of look. But the trim on it, as I said, that was the easiest part of the entire thing. Really, was just leaving it alone after you sprayed it. Really, but it's when you're doing other ones.
The color of the head of this thing and how it's like that. I don't know. It's got how do you get like it's not weather. I guess it is weathering. Like it's got like
Mm.
tarnish to it and stuff. It
Yeah,
looks aged.
that was with that. It was using Agric's Earthshade, either sort of watered down and then neat and carefully going around with
Okay.
a brush. But I've also, with the head in particular, I did what they call oil weathering, where
Okay.
you spray it with some, well, a friend of mine gave me a tip. It's a floor polish that you sort of
Yeah,
spray
whatever
for an
works.
airbrush, yeah, onto that first. Then you use oil paints with some white spirit, and you mix them up with like a selection of colours
Okay.
to get the right sort of tone shade. Then you just paint it all over it, let it dry, and then you have to rub it off with like a clean white cloth
Oh
or
wow.
cotton buds, and it leaves all that sort of build up in the edges,
Yeah.
that sort of like oily, dirty residue. Um, but yeah, especially with yellow, it looks fantastic
Yeah.
on
No,
yellow.
that looks awesome. That's why I was like, wow. I was wondering how you did that. Greg
Mm.
Smith says Lee's Celeria recipe is so easy and it's so satisfying to pull off. Good.
Yeah, yeah, that
Um,
was one of my little. It was a 5 minute video. It's the Solaria scheme is striking because it's so different to everything else.
Interesting.
Um, and I've seen several people where they've got their own recipes and everything,
So
but I don't do complicated.
good. Yeah, I can't blame you on that with a lot of stuff. Tom Williamson says, "Can you load PNGs into Procreate?" Yes, you can. You can also load PSDs into it and JPEGs and a few other things. He also says, i.e., if I use Photoshop to pre-do this step on something, would it work? Absolutely. And he also says trim is the worst.
Yeah,
Uh, Wolf Lord Lewis. I'm just working on 40K at the moment. The Firefly is on the shelf until I can find the motivation to build those bleeding tracks. I can understand that. He was working on tracks for a Sherman tank for a couple days, and they're a lot of hassle.
yeah. So each kit has its own little issues, we shall say. But yeah, Titans, it's trim.
Yeah.
Everybody will just say trim. You ask them, it's the trim. But once they're done, I say like once you find a scheme that you want to do, because like when I chose my Titans and what Legios I was going to do, like with the Fire Wasps, it was always going to be the Fire Wasps as my first Legio
Got
when Adeptus Titanicus first came back out, purely because back in the original game, it was the Fire Wasp were the very sort of like them and Legio Mortis, the big bads,
yeah.
were the first two real Legios mentioned. And I just loved the sort of little stories that you got through all the different like releases like Codex Titanicus, Space Marine, Epic,
Mhm.
and everything. And you always got little bits of fluff, and I just loved the whole idea that this Legio was the Legio that the Emperor chose to protect the palace, and because
Yeah.
of their service, they were honoured with being the only Legio that stands guard at the gate to the Emperor's throne room. So it's just like, oh, that's awesome.
Oh, I didn't know
Um,
that.
yeah, there was and since like the Horus heresy from Forge World has been
Yeah.
kicking off, all the little black books that you get from there have such rich sort of backgrounds given to all the sort of chapters and night houses, Mechanicum forces, Titan legios, and everything. It really sort of again sort of just widens your horizons within the universe, because there's, say, like hundreds of different sort of Titan legios. Obviously, they only do probably around about 50
Oh,
named
yeah.
ones, I think. But they've just got their own stories, backgrounds, and you can sit there and just read these books, or even going on to things like Lexicanum or Warhammer Wiki.
Yeah.
Um,
I
and just
always loved
learn
in the
all that stuff.
early books or whatever, just the little snippets. Like they would just have like a small little blurb, and it was like this little snippet into the world, and sometimes there'd be an illustration with it or whatever. And those were like the coolest little things to me, because it's like it wasn't trying to tell you the whole story. It was just trying to give you a little like glimpse of what is out there in this world. And I was
Yeah.
always intrigued with that, just these little snippets, and sometimes they're not tied to anything, and it's just this little thing. And I just love that about the rule books. And even when they format White Dwarf now, I see they did it before too, but just the little side blurbs. I'm like, I don't even know why I love like the little tiny side blurbs so much in all these things. I just always thought they were cool.
Yeah, well, the Horus Heresy came about from a small single paragraph in like Rogue Trader or something,
Yeah.
where they just mentioned, oh, there was this war called the Horus Heresy, and then like everyone's going, it's sort of like Star Wars in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the Clone Wars? We want to know about the Clone Wars, where you have to wait sort of 20 years before that happens. Yeah, I've just seen in the chat John Decker where he's replied, "Mortis for life, yo." No, Mortis are dead. I killed them. I killed them lots. And then Pascal, as a new fan, it's always great to hear when people have such nostalgia and start sharing their fond memories. That's what the hobby's about, really. Just meeting people in like gaming groups or in even like a games workshop somewhere, and you just get talking, and then next minute you're having a conversation. You look at your watch, you've been there for an hour, and it's been like the best hour ever, which is always good.
Okay, almost.
All right, Wolflord Lewis, what books you suggest for learning more about Titans? I've already got Titan Death, Titanicus, Warlord Fury of the God Emperor. Well, out of them, Titan Death is my favourite. Guy Haley's work, which I've listened to and read multiple times since releasing, and was partly why I did the Legio Solaria, because the main characters are part of the Legio Solaria within the story, and it was just such an awesome tale, especially when you've got so many sort of Titan battles going off left, right, and centre. It's what any Titan head has been longing for. So that was great to read. Titanicus by Dan Abnett was again I think like one of the first books to have a lot of Titan action in, which is set in the 40k, all part tied up with the Sabbat Worlds Crusade, where Forge World Orestes and the Legio Tempestus are under siege by Chaos forces, and they call for aid, and the Legio Invicta responds and agrees to walk in the defense of Orestes. So it's it's got all that sort of diplomacy between the sort of Titan Legios, lots of Titan fighting, as well as personal stories going on throughout the story. Actually, a friend of mine, Nikki Loftus, there's a Titan in there, a Warhound Titan called Morbius Sire, which is her, basically. She is that Titan. And we, a group of friends, all chipped in for her 30th birthday and bought her a Warhound Titan. And I got the job to build and paint it in the colours of Invicta for her, which she was very, very happy about, as you would be if you got a Warhound Titan. But it's that special connection because it's her.
Huh. See, I learned something new all the time on these streams, apparently.
Yeah, well, you get, as I said to you earlier before we broadcast, you get the right people in, and we'll just talk and talk and talk about the hobby and everything. was a Wolflord. Titan Death is an amazing book. And yeah, the Bane Lords, which is the chaos sort of corrupt Titan of a Warlord. You see that within Titan Death. There was another story, a short story by Guy Haley, The Laurel of Defiance, which tells the story about Captain Lucretius Corvo of the Ultramarines, and he fought him and his troops on this planet as they were trying to get to Calth, engaged a chaos corrupted Titan on the world of Astragar, I think it was called. And that, even though it's a short story, is actually quite enlightening and revealing to how these corrupted Titans differ from normal Titans.
That would be something I would want to check out for sure.
Yeah, obviously Black Library. It's probably only a few dollars. As I say, it's only a short story as well, but it's a really good little insight. See, not only Space Marines trying to fight against a Titan when they've got limited sort of like anti-Titan support with them, but how this Titan operates differently to the normal sort of rank and file type things.
So one thing I want to say while I'm doing this is, so I kind of screwed up, and so this is a prime example of why I practice. If you look here, I was erasing, but when you're I was erasing one image over a white background, and when you do that, you miss the little edges. And now when I put the black or the brown background, look at all the edges that I missed. So it's like I should put that behind there first, and I totally like forgot it. And I'm just talking to you, so I did like a bad cleanup job, and now it's like a waste of time. So just to anyone out there, do any cleanup and get that all done, and put the background behind it if you're erasing on white, because look at that, I gotta do all over. So there you
Hello,
go,
Bruce.
That's your tip of the day.
Another friend of mine, Bruce Telford, who is a admin with me on the Spear of the Emperor's Facebook group. Really cool guy, really helpful and friendly, and an awesome hobbyist as well.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see you here, Bruce. I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, hey, Bruce, thanks for joining us. I can't even believe like 10 people like coming to join. So I really appreciate that. And it helps me get better at this. I need to work on rewiring my brain a little bit to do talk and draw at the same time. So it's good practice. And thanks for joining me, Forge of Mars. It helps break it up and get me more used to it.
No, it's what the hobby is about, where you've got all us people from very different backgrounds, but we're all sort of unified by this hobby and painting, creating. People like to say
there is crazy amounts of talent. It's everywhere on like every facet. It's like everyone's doing something cool and different, and so that was part of it. Like during the whole lockdown thing, it was inspiring. It's like, okay, everyone's still working and doing the fun stuff, so get in on it.
Well, and that's what it is. It's like to be fair, the hobby had kept me fairly grounded throughout the various lockdowns we had over here. And obviously you've got the time. You're not sort of just sitting down, pondering about life and all that. You're actually being constructive and creative. And painting models is a relaxing thing, and it helps keep your mind sharp as well. So that has helped me through this sort of tough, emotionally and mentally draining period. Like everybody, we all have good days, we have bad days, but so the hobby has helped me anyway. Not running around with an axe trying to kill people. So that's a good sign, I find.
Pass on that.
not.
Almost trying to get this part done, but the highlights annoy me, and I'll regret it later if I don't.
Yeah, so you got to be comfortable with your work at the end of the day. Otherwise, you're just going to drive yourself mad.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah. There's a couple of questions there. So DD606, new Horus Heresy book Mortis has some great description of how Mortis looked after they got sick. Yeah, they're just sick and twisted. Um, they Mortis. Grr! Damn you! Yes, that's all I'm going to say about them. Warlord Lewis. Got any really old models, Lee? The oldest is the OG Majal Stormcaller model. I have Wolf Lord Lewis. I have still within my collection somewhere a Rogue Trader era lead Space Marine who was armed with a melter gun. And he's holding it like a rifle. So it's like he's aiming down the sights. And I've loved this model since time immemorial, basically. And I've kept it with me. I've gone through several mass extinctions of hobby where I've basically gave all my stuff away to people at various points in my long career as being a painter and hobbyist. And I've always managed to keep hold of that one. There's a couple of others actually I've got, I think, but they're in bits, which was the old original Ordo Malleus Terminator Inquisitor. And I think there was another Inquisitor as well that came with like a bolt and needler combi weapon. I've got him somewhere as well. But as I said, they're in bits, so they don't really count. But yeah, no. So the Najal Stormcaller, I've always liked his character from when they first sort of brought him out in the sort of mid-90s. I tried doing Space Wolves back then, back with the bright orange hair and red and yellow everywhere, and I bought a few. But every hobbyist has their like Legion or chapter of choice.
Yep.
And I know I don't look it, but I would say I'd probably relate more back to the Ultramarines back then.
Gotcha.
Because of a piece of artwork which appeared on one of their little box games, which was called Space Marine, not the epic one, but it was like a little. You had a group of scouts on these little thin Space Hulk board sections. And it was like one of their first little. It was like £5 to buy this, or £5 to £8, which would have been about $10 to $15 or something, for this little self-contained game with the little plastic scouts. But the artwork on it had a bunch of Ultramarines surging through a breach, and it was just the posing there. And like one of the Ultramarines had like shark's teeth on the side of his beaky helmet, and it was that look. I just thought, oh, they're cool. And I've sort of been affiliated to them. I didn't actually make an Ultramarines army until sometime during the Heresy years, from when Forge World started doing that side of things. But again, I painted up a few thousand points, ended up selling it on to a friend who wanted to do Ultramarines. So, I recycled some parts, kept them, and they went into my Empress Children army, and other parts were sold on to him to help him with his sort of project.
Yeah. I need new friends. My friends don't paint me any miniatures or give me any miniatures. I need to show them this and be like, get the ball together, man. I want some miniatures or something. Gosh. I had Daz Dillinger on Twitter. I did a Paintover for him before, and the models are up there. He painted, so he took which one are they? Mechanicus, and he made them dark Mechanicus, kind of like Nurgle. And so he took 3 of them, converts them, does all this incredible work, paints them, mails them to me, pays to send them from the UK to me. And this is someone I've never like spoke with and just met in the community, and my friends never even did anything like that. This is like some random person. I'm like, you guys need to pick up your game. So shout out, thanks to Dats for those. Those are awesome.
No, with everything.
Wait, let me read a couple comments. I'm soon to be DD606 says I'm soon to be working on a 40k for Forge World Mortis Nurgle Warhound. I love the Nurgle stuff. I don't know for Paintovers because I think I can use more splatter. Wolf Lord Lewis, he has the giant raven that's as strong as a guardsman. Yeah, I remember. I actually played a lot with Nigel Stormcaller, so I remember that well. Al, who's the Wookiee gassing on and on and on? It's Office, by the way.
Yeah, hello, Office.
Oh, Office. Thank you for joining. Pascal.
Yeah, we have a very strange relationship. I have to suppress his ego repeatedly. And where you posted earlier on Twitter with that I was going to be on with the picture of the Warlord.
Yeah.
A friend of ours, Leaky Cheese, responded and said, "Oh, he's a big fella." And I responded that he's actually bigger than Office, because there's a running joke that Office is actually incredibly short and tiny. Like you fit him in your pocket almost. He's a very, very small person. Very, very small. Itsy bitsy. Pascal, if a Nurgle Titan is anything like a Plague Marine, it would be disgustingly amazing. Yes, in some books I've read where they describe the corruption of a Titan, and it's just like, yeah, I don't. That's why I don't like chaos. Being covered in boils and pustules is not my thing. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But 4'11", yeah, 4'11". I doubt that very much. That's with a hat on. Wolf Lord Lewis, DD606 with your Mortis Nurgle Warhound. If you go onto Twitter and look up myself, Forge of Mars, with the Titanicus Tuesday post yesterday, you'll see one of my other Titans facing off against my friend Simon Winter's Mortis Corrupted Titan. And the paint work alone is awesome, but what he'd done with it was even more amazing. He'd done so much work for it. I think he might be onto it under Winter's Warhammer. He's on Instagram as Winter's Warhammer. But yeah, so if you look him up, he's got some amazingly painted Mortis engines. But this Angelus Mortis, I think its name is, or is it Carnus Mortis? But he actually put a bone tail on the back of this Reaver Titan.
Oh,
that
that's
sweeps
cool.
out, and it is just fantastic. It really is, and it was a shame to kill it. Really,
it always is.
Yeah,
that's one thing I love the conversions, and I'm a big fan of just scenery. I think the scenery goes back to the old Warhammer days with the little dioramas in the back or whatever, and so just everyone making scenery, and I think it's probably one of the reasons I got into the Paintovers is because it's like the scenery sets that world, and so it was it's another level of you can see it on the battlefield and see it with the buildings, and especially with a game like this scale with the Titans, it's wow, you get some scenery around these things, and that's a huge epic scene.
Yeah, it's with the museum up at Warhammer World, which is it's just amazing just to walk around seeing all these old type models, new type models, and then the dioramas are just absolutely amazing.
One day I got to get there.
Oh, for the big one, which is like a chaos invasion of an ultramarine world alone, they got so many sort of staff members from stores from Warhammer World to paint models for it. But you've got warhounds running around, you've got huge engines of war, demons coming out left, right, and center. But my favorite part of it is you see this warhound, chaos warhound, at the back of the battlefield, sort of heading towards this, like, the city as such, and he's being hit in the face by a drop pod. It's brilliant. It's like, oh my god, what a way to go!
So much fun working on those big things to include all that stuff. It's got to be a riot.
Oh, yeah, you say you sit there because you always find, because with this that whole thing is Forge will do a little competition for when you visit for you to find the Vindicar assassin.
Oh, interesting! I didn't know that.
And this thing's like 20 foot by 15 foot wide and thousands of miniatures on it. And they'll go in there and put this lone Vindicar assassin somewhere, and you have people sitting there just staring, looking, trying to find it, because if you find it, you get given an assassin model sort of thing. But it's also I found it. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, Warlord. If you find the Vindicar, you get a assassin model. Basically, they give you a blister pack, which, funnily enough, a few years ago, back in 2017, I used to go to the Horus Heresy Weekenders up in Nottingham, which were some of the best sort of events going, where you had a weekend full of like authors, Forge World staff, everybody there talking about the new releases, the new books, everything, seminars, and you get to meet up some of the faces within the community there as well, like other bloggers and podcasters and everything who get to attend these events. And I was fortunate enough to be involved in the Adeptus Titanicus demo game.
Oh wow!
They did two, which they had one on a Friday night, and then I played in the one on the Saturday night. And I took my Reaver Titan Iracundus, who is also known as the Disco Reaver, because I put a Bluetooth speaker in it. So I played like a little sound app on my phone. So I'm standing there, it's like pressing, I'm going to fire the guns, or missile.
That's kind of funny.
Or put on iTunes and play music through it, or more importantly, sounding the war horn, which I was doing like every now and again, just going brrr, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's so cool." But in this particular game, we were allowed to use our, big scale Titans using the AT rule set in this demo game, and I got. I got nominated to be the leader of the loyalist team. Everyone sort of backed. We had a line. Everyone took one step back, and I was there. So I went, "All right, I'll do it."
Excuse me for 1 second. I am going to. The puppy is calling me, so I'm going to go take him out and give him a little snack. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. I'm going to mute my mic so you guys talk amongst yourselves. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm going to be back just in like 2 minutes. Just got to take care of the dog.
All right. Well, while he's disappeared, let's have a look at what's DD606. Yeah, no worries, mate. As I said, if you find his page, he's got so much. He's just done some Krieg tanks and soldiers recently, and they're just phenomenal as well. He's a very talented painter, that boy. Pascal, yeah, you've got to go on a sort of a pilgrimage to Warhammer World. It's good food, good gaming. There's lots of stuff to buy. And you've got the museum, which for what you have to pay for admission, it's totally worth it, because if you've been in the hobby as long as anyone, you'll see models from back in the day, present, and the dioramas as well. They've got some fantastic dioramas there, which you'll just spend ages just looking over, just seeing all the little details and everything that are there. I think one of the good ones there, which was Black Orc Down, where you have a Valkyrie who's been shot down, and you've got the crew standing around it, and then orcs coming from all these buildings around them, sort of thing. So yeah, definitely worth that. What else we got? Yeah, the puppy calls again. The community where I live is very small, so to find any local retailer is hard, and many of them are scalp. Yeah, well, that's never good. Yeah. Like recently, when you had books such as Mortis and the Alfarius book coming out, and then within seconds, you go onto eBay and see people selling them for silly amounts. I can understand why people do it, because there are people out there who will pay to get hold of something before everyone else. It's just not, I personally don't feel it's in the spirit of, it's a hobby at the end of the day, and yeah, I'm not going to even go in there now, really. It's frustrating, and you just see these sort of posts come up, and they get shared around all various groups and Twitter, where they're posting up pictures of, oh, look at this person who's selling this for £200. It's just, it's ridiculous. Aaron Matthews.
All right.
Wolf-Lord Lewis from York. Yes, I love York. I spent some time up there many moons ago. I absolutely love the city. It's fantastic. So you're lucky so and so. And I've heard about the York GW, that it's got quite a good manager in there, which again adds to the hobby. Aaron Matthews, something I want to do but doubt I'll ever get to.
You never know.
You never know. Sometimes I go back to the early 2000s, and I was working continually for day after day after day, and then one day I just thought, sod it, I'm going to go backpacking around Australia and New Zealand, sort of thing. It was only a short one for about 5 weeks, but I basically just took out a loan, paid off some debts, and then I had a few £1,000s to arrange my ticket and just did it, because otherwise, if you don't, then you're missing out. Life is something that you can't take for granted. You've got to, if you have an idea, do it, because tomorrow you don't know what's going to happen.
That's part of like me even doing Paintovers. I'm like, what? Just like, I'm like, life's short, and so I'll be wrapping it up soon enough. So might as like, what am I worried about for live streaming? You know what I mean? I'm like, what someone's gonna tease me because I sound stupid or something? I'm like, whatever. Like, just put it out there and start doing it, because soon enough.
Well, I learned a very hard lesson from doing something similar, where I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. There was a friend of mine who used to run a hobby club, sort of not local to me, but he used to do it on a Friday night. And I normally, Friday nights were bad for me to sort of get time off, because I'd see my kids on a Friday night. But this one Friday, their mum said, "Oh, don't worry about coming over. We're doing something, have a day off." So I went, okay, no worries. So I thought, I'll go down to the club, see everybody, say hi and all that. And it came to sort of finishing work, and I thought, right, I've got to drive down there. Oh, the traffic looks a little bit, I'll do it another time. It'll come up. My friend died the following Monday.
Yeah.
message came out. He just basically heart attack, middle of the street on going to work on the Monday morning, and you just think, wow, you know. And from then on, from dealing with that sort of emotional sort of bombshell, because I thought I was going to go and I put it off. So if I want to do something, like if I want to go see somebody or send a message to someone, I do it because you just don't know.
No, you
I
don't.
might not be here, they might not be here, so you can't hold back in that respect. So if you ever want to do something, do it. But
For
obviously,
sure.
not if you want to go
As,
kill somebody, don't do that. That's bad.
speaking, if you want to do something, hit that like button,
Yeah,
subscribe,
yeah. Come on,
what,
like and
whatever else you're
subscribe,
supposed to
guys. Come
do on
on,
these live streams, share it. I don't know, whatever that stuff's into.
we're
One of
all
the things I
hobbyists
wanted to
here.
touch on with this paint over, in case anyone is interested, is so I usually end up, if you see it like right now, it's it has a background and then the model's on top. I usually end up putting a layer in multiply, so all that does is act like a tint layer, and all I'm trying to do with that is basically unify the lighting in the background. So it's like you're unifying the model with the background because you're throwing the same tint over the other thing. And then this next layer, what I did is it's a layer set on overlay, and I use almost a white. And then you can see when I turn it on and off, all I did was highlight some of the stuff. So what I'm doing with that is I'm pushing things forward. Like I get his shoe, or his foot to have have more
His
light, so
sneaker,
it brings it forward. Same thing with his head. I want the head to come forward, and same thing with like that carapace. How do you say it?
carapace. Yeah.
Yeah, carapace. So I had that like popped out. So that's, I'm trying to get like some depth back and then leave some of the shadow there to
Mm.
accentuate kind of the lighting you already had going on. Like I love these models, and that's why I always say like the upshots, especially on the big ones, because you got that nice shadow under his shoulder pads. And like if you look at even a lot of the artwork for like GW and everything, a lot of them, it's really strong shadows on a lot of stuff because your shadows basically really force the composition, and like they're strong and bold, and so you'll see a lot of like shadow and dark area in those, and so it's not like all like the same. It's a lot different from the model photography, because the model photography is usually trying to really show off everything in the model, whereas the art's trying to make a scene. So they're not trying to specifically show, unless it's like concept art or something. So
Mm.
it's like I would try to take these and push them in that direction to get a little more, play with that shadow more and put it into the scene. This thing is so cool, though. I love it. It's a great model.
Yeah. With when I just received a message from one of my friends, Nigel, who he does a lot of photography, and I picked up a lot of things from him where I've met up with him and gone to Warhammer World for doing some games, and he takes all his photographs and that, and um, he sort of taught me a few sort of tips and tricks of how to get a good photograph and how to sort of keep it natural and
Yeah.
angles, lighting, and everything. I had a basic understanding of photography, and even Games Workshop did on their website have how to photograph your model sort of thing,
Yep.
which was just an easy guide to making sure the lighting is right and lights
Hmm.
behind you and everything. Shut up, Nigel. Sorry, he's texting me. um, he's he yeah, as I said, he sort of told me how to sort of take a good photograph, and doing these different angles really, as you say, it gives a little bit more to the model,
Yeah. Oh, it
seeing from different
absolutely
angles
does
and
it.
views.
Yeah. Because they're designed. I mean, these are some of like the best like model designers in the world. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
they know what they're trying to show off, and then you're trying to like tap into that and just go along with the same thing. And to me, it's a lot of fun. It's like it's just everything. Like people take these photos, and some people are trying like different backgrounds. Some will be like darker backgrounds. Some are trying to color. Some are Garfy, I think, does some amazing stuff with like all his like lighting and everything out there. It's insane.
Yeah, I used to use the inlays of books for models. So they obviously, you've got that either a plain background for them, or a lot of people were using the Forge World. Pardon me, sorry, the Forge World books. Because the inlays, you had all the pictures in there. It looked, really cool to have like an Imperial Star map behind
Yeah,
your
oh
tank
yeah,
or
yeah. Those
something.
would make. Yeah. I'm gonna read
So
a
as
couple
I say,
messages here. Aaron Matthews is something I want to do, but doubt I will ever get to. Wolf Lord Lewis says, I might see if I can go to Warhammer World for my birthday. That would be a cool birthday present to yourself.
yeah, worth it.
Pascal, lockdown has not been kind to international shipping rates. Oh, yeah. See, that reminds me. I subscribed to White Dwarf, and I still didn't get January's issue, so I
Oh,
should look into that. I messaged them, and they messaged me back and said, yes, we show it got shipped out, but post office. I know they do lose stuff. Um, Pascal, not lockdown, but Brexit. Wolf Lord Lewis, for shipping rates at least, for shipping times, then it's lockdown to blame. Um, Pascal
yeah.
says the most ridiculous thing I've seen is someone selling a bottle of Vallejo model color for $22 and a set of 16 for 140. How they think that's reasonable is beyond me.
Yeah, it's it is a shame. Greg, who was in the chat earlier on, was after some Legio Solaria decals, and the cheapest he found were for about $50, and that was coming from the US.
Wow.
Whereas over here, someone was selling them for about £80, which would probably be near about $110, I would have thought. So he was lucky in the fact that he was able to swap um, another decal sheet he had that somebody else wanted. So he managed to get them today. He sent me a picture earlier on saying, "Oh, look what I got!" Sort of like Christmas had come early in February for him. But yeah, I if I was selling my models, for example, I wouldn't be charging the earth for them. I'd be, obviously they're painted to an okay stand. I don't have a high opinion on my painting, so I apologise because I don't. um, but I would just say like, well, face value for it, sort of thing. I know like you get professional commission painters, and
Mm-hmm.
their work is amazing. Some of the guys out there just.
Yeah.
John Moggy McGee, for example, has just got some amazing work he's done over the years, and several others as well. Where you just look at their work and you go, "That's amazing," and you can understand why they charge the different tiers.
Yeah.
You get tabletop, you've got like display and all that sort of thing. I don't do commissions because. As I said, if I painted something for me, I like it. I
Yeah.
don't expect everybody else to like it, and I wouldn't like to be in a situation where I paint something, hand it back, and then people are upset and I've paid you for this. So I'd rather just not be involved in that. So I don't
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. I could understand that for sure.
Yeah. So thank you, Nigel, for that message as well. It's yes. It's yeah. Oh, Moggy built your ones. Oh, cool. DD606. Yeah, Moggy is just a really great painter. Really nice guy as well. I've only physically met him a couple of times, and I've only really spoke to him physically very very briefly. But from all his posts on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everything, he does some really exceptional work, and totally yeah, if you've got one of his models, it's totally worth it because he does such an awesome job of painting, using his skills to the max.
I'm just checking Twitter for a second.
DD606, yes, GW should keep decals in stock for longer. I know because with their sort of terms they have with the companies that make the decals, they've got to put in an order for X amount before they get their orders done at the right price for them, sort of thing. So because they can't sort of really sort of judge future sales trends, I suppose they're a bit they may not order enough of a particular one, because all it takes is for somebody to put up a picture of a awesome Titan, for example, and people go, I really like the look of that, I really want to do that, and I want the decals for it. And then suddenly all the decals for that particular Legio disappear because everybody's doing that particular thing. I've seen it across the board with Space Marine chapters and all that sort of thing, where once they become popular, everybody and their dog wants to do them, and you can't.
Yeah, you
get
can't
those sort of
restock
decals.
all that because you'd never get rid of it. I could totally see that.
No. So, but yeah, with Titanicus, I think they should maybe put a few extra on the orders, because I most people now sort of got into the mindset to buy 2 of them at a time because of their projects and having doubles of certain things, because you only get enough of certain decals to do certain Titans, etc., and the same with the knights that come with them. So yeah, I like when I've done all the decals I bought for Legios I've done that have decals, I've always bought double sheets for them, because you need them, really.
Well, yeah, and you put out a lot of work on these, so you you need a stock of decals for the amount of these I've seen from you.
Yeah, as I said, I've started my 9th Legio project, so I've got, as I mentioned earlier, I've built and painted 80 Titans with the Legio Ignatum, these guys, Legio Solaria, Legio Ozidax, and Legio Krytos, Legio Audax, Legio Volcanum, Legio. Damn it! I've forgotten what Legio it is. Oh my god!
You're doing way better than me. I do not. I'm like, oh man, I don't even know if my brain will retain all that stuff. It's hilarious.
That's really I can't remember what the 4, because I've got 4 traitors, 3 loyalists, and I've started my 4th loyalist, which was the Legio Fortidus, the orange ones I just painted recently. There is the 9th. Well, technically it's the 8th one, because Fortidus is the 9th project. The 8th one is a secret project which I can't put out as of yet. The only part of it I've shown on social media is its base. I done a couple of weeks back, but yeah, I can't. I'm not to share pictures of that at the moment, because that's a joint project with a group of people that we should be doing some sort of blog, like a Tale of 4 Warlord type thing, apparently.
Gotcha.
So until I get say so, then that stays hidden. It's a long-term project anyway, so it's not that. But that's, what the hell was my 4th traitor one?
It'll come to you.
I'll probably have to look it up. That's embarrassing.
No worries. I still can't even pronounce half the names to anything, so yeah. You're doing much better than me. And thanks I can't believe 13 viewers. Thanks a lot for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, Wolflord with the Volcar decals for the knights. Yeah. that was on the special release night sheet they done, which I said I managed to get. Well, I get one at release, and then I got one off a friend who was kind enough to send me that and a few other decal sheets he weren't going to have or use. But yeah, it is pretty tough when you sort of look through the lore, find something that you like the look of, like a Space Marine chapter or something like that. Again, like I'm admin with my friend Bruce and Matt Swift. We run the Spears of the Emperor hobby group on Facebook.
Okay.
So the book Spear of the Emperor by Aaron Dembski-Bowden, it's a really good book. I'll just put out there. It's an awesome story, well worth the read. But it got a lot of us sort of motivated to do an Emperor Spear Force. So we set up this group, and we've got some of the sort of really good hobbyists involved in there, and we actually have been getting our own decals made for it. So like a guy called David Whidden, who basically organises it all from Fallout Hobbies. So we like put in a bulk order for us, and then we distribute them to the people that wanted them. But that's the only thing that we can do in that regards, because as I say, it's that finishing touch to make a Space Marine look proper. You've got to have their insignia. So it's either that, or if you go onto like 3D printing places and get pads made, or depends what you prefer working with. Decals, I like decals more than raised pauldrons on things.
Oh yeah.
So and decals, once you know how to do decals, they are actually really good looking finish to a model at the end of the day. Harafkanil. I can never pronounce the battle barge of the Space Wolves.
No, that's yes. I was so bad. I was calling it the Harfinkel. That's as far as I got. Like that's what it's known as to me.
Yeah, I think the end's silent. Harafnil.
Oh, there we go.
House Bolkar. I've done 2 of my nights, like the third night is Canis Rex. Yeah, I got Canis Rex, but I've done it as a preceptor because another thing that I do with Imperial Knights in the 28mm format, I collected pretty much all of them, Forge World and everything. So I've got one of each class, barring the Mechanicus variant of the Acastus, which I think is called the Atreus, which it's the only model I don't like the look of, and it's not a cheap model. And when you can compare the price that you pay for it for an extra, say, £20-30, you can buy yourself a Warhound Titan. I'm edging towards the Titan, so it's just not the right sort of price point for what it is, in my opinion. It should be, you should have, like, if you're buying something and you see one model, you think, oh, that's really cool, and then you see a Warhound Titan is not that much more, you're more likely to go, I'll go with a Warhound.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, because it's not that, if it was like 60, 70 pounds, dollars, or whatever difference, then you might go, that's all right. But when you're looking at, not a lot more, then the Warhound's always going to sort of steal it over the Knight in particular. But because it's a shame, really, because rules wise, especially in AT, I know lots of people are waiting for the model for it to come out, even after all the furore over the Porphyrion, because the rules for them are a little bit deadly. Well, they were until they sort of got a price increase to balance it out, because they just killed everything, and it was like, oh, I'll have 4 of these, which would cost me the same as less than 2 warhounds, and I will just destroy everything before me. So you got, yeah, you had one guy turn up to the Adeptus Titanicus event they ran last year at Warhammer World, and he was posting up. He was turning up with like 8 of them,
Oh wow.
and everyone was going, "You're really turning up with 8 of them in your sort of like your small list," and it's like nobody wants to play you. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't think he wasn't doing it like in a malicious way. I think he just went, "Oh, I'll do this. That'll make me survive longer and let me hurt somebody." But they were so over the top with how many shots they can dish out, and it was I was lucky. In one of the games I played, I had a guy who had 4 of them, and I was ridiculously lucky because I managed to get a pair of warhounds right in front of them. Fired my plasma blast gun on maximal fire, so it had increased strength to the shots, and I got 4 hits. So because there was in the squadron, it increased the strength. So I was on a base of 11 strength, and I rolled 3 6s and a 5.
Oh
So
wow.
that basically killed 3 outright, and then damaged the last one, sort of thing, which the other Titan then shot up. If it weren't for that in the first turn, those 4, oh, I dread to think the carnage I, I would have suffered, because they would just absolutely hammered me relentlessly, because they were just too cheap and too powerful for what
What
they
they
could
can
do,
do.
if you know what I mean. Yeah.
I
There's,
haven't
oh,
played. I see. That's why I gotta get some games. I miss it. Like I miss the crazy things that happen when you roll dice. DD606, looking good. Artist Empire. Thank you. I'm trying. I'm right now. I'm at a point. I want some bright. If his body was darker, it's kind of works. I'm trying to see. I want the bright light kind of behind him, like there's the big, like some I don't know, fireball explosion going on. So I'm trying to get like some depth with that, and I'm staring at it right now, just debating if I like that effect or not. I think I do. I don't think I'm worried that with the yellow in the background, it loses some of the shoulder pad. That's why I'm kind of keeping that line low, because if you look, I'm trying to go right through like here and keep it where the Titan is predominantly dark. So I'm trying to mix like in general, if some body part is like really in a lot of shadow, I try to put like something bright behind it because it like pops, you know. And the same thing, if it's a bright spot, I try to put a darker background behind it in general, so that the same thing, that contrast makes it pop.
hmm.
So I think we're getting here with this. I don't know. I might have them firing. I love the idea of these guys firing, so I'm going to try to keep the gun barrel explosion up top, but I might work on it a
Yeah,
bit.
it's looking really cool. Just to say, I've just been staring at it while you've been sort of just talking just then, because I was flitting between reading the comments, sort of thing. So,
Uh-huh.
and then I really sort of taking it in what you're actually doing there, and it's like, oh my god, that is just like fantastic.
We're trying. Thanks. Pascal says, I know you may be biased, but should I start my hobbying journey with 40K standard, or can I jump straight into Titanicus? For me, I jump in with whatever I think is cool. I jumped back in and bought Necromunda because I like the old version, and it was a lot of fun with the combat mechanics, but I also knew it was low model count, and my odds of painting less models is better. So I was like, I'll pick that one up and start with a gang, and that's it. But for me, it's like whatever. I bought different stuff. Like I bought a couple Mechanicus models because I liked them. I bought what I bought an Iron Strider just because I liked it, and a few other things. So hopefully I'm going to get to paint. And I was gifted some cool Mechanicus models for the Ho Ho Hobby Vices Secret Santa thing. So I want to get around to those this year before next Christmas. That's my plan.
The thing with so I still play. Well, I have 40k armies. Again, because I'm a bit of a hoarder. I always go big with every sort of thing I do.
Yeah.
But AT is by far my favourite game system, because it's not just going around killing the opponent's titans and all that. Some of the things that can happen in game, like exploding, like you got to monitor your reactor. Keep an eye on that so you don't ride the reactor in the red, because that could be really, really painful. And I've seen it on several occasions where people have pushed their reactors that little bit too much, and then next minute they've blown up,
Just
and
a wee
then
bit. Just
that has a knock-on effect. But it's one of the best rule systems about. It's nicely balanced because obviously you're against equal opponents, sort of thing. Like it's Titan on Titan or Knights or whatever. But I've not had a bad game. Every game has had little bits in there where you think, oh, that was a bit hairy, or wow, that was awesome, and you get those little stories in your head when you're playing these sort of games and the scenarios and everything.
That's like my favorite part. That's like you just like what you're imagining. I always remember this one scene of like I just had like one blood claw who had a power fist, and his squad like wiped out like literally like 2 or 3 vehicles plus another squad of guardsmen, and he was the last one standing, and he never broke. And with his power fist, he took out another rhino. Like it was just like one man, like this whole scenario. I was like, all right, you deserve something. Like you're gonna get a back banner one day.
Well, that's the thing, is these little moments in the games that you're playing where it sticks with you, and they are like little movies.
Yeah, they are.
Which you're having again, like now where you're talking to other hobbyists and answering questions, and you're remembering these little instances in a battle that you fought in once in your youth. It was one of the things from one of the Horus Heresy weekenders, which has always stuck with me, was Alan Bly, who obviously was the lead writer for many years for Forge World before he obviously sadly passed away. But in the last weekender that he done, he was talking about Space Wolf's chapter master, who was in charge of the Space Wolf's Legion before they found Russ. And his story in the book is he got killed fighting this orc war boss, heroically, and got taken out. And he goes, that was actually a scene from a game I played on my living room floor with a friend when we were 12, where my Space Wolf captain fought an orc, and he died, and we were using other toys to represent other vehicles. It was like proper sort of kids' own stuff, and it's just like, wow, like I've had those same ideas when I've had games, but you've actually written it into lore, sort of thing, and it's inspiration at the end of the day. It was such a cool sort of thing, and I think everybody sitting there hearing him say that, I think like little lights went on in our heads. We're like going, yeah, we've all been there.
I think that's one of the unifying things is like everyone has that creative vibe, and they just like how the world plays out. Let me read a couple comments here. I had a Marine survive, Wolf Lord Lewis. I had a Marine survive Cyclops demolition charge shot to the face. DDO6, Wolf Lord Lewis. Fabby Z. Are you two mainly into the 40k side of things, or do you also like the Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Fantasy Games lore? When I played back in the day, I played both. 40k is just in my mind a little bigger, and I think got swept up into that first. I like the Age of Sigmar. I like a lot of the models coming out. The orcs
Mm.
were one of the ones that were drawing me back in. I was like, oh gosh, I really want to play. And so that game with the recent like designs for it is really good. So I am more 40K side, or at least more knowledgeable, but I really like both. And Necromunda is still probably, I think because it's a small squad and I just like the weird little setting, that's probably my quote unquote favorite, I think. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, with Fantasy and Age of Sigmar, I've never really got into that side. I'm all about the plasma killy death of
Yeah.
the far future. But saying that, there has been times. The first time it was in the sort of early 90s, early mid 90s, when they brought out the Night Goblins,
Oh
and
yeah. Oh yeah.
I just thought I like these little crazy little green skin things with their
Yep.
little black hats and everything. And so I bought a couple of them, one of them with a big club with a nail sticking out of it, because I just thought it was hilarious. So I bought a couple of them, and I still have them actually. Think of it, I've still got those few guys, one with a net and one with a club. They're squid
I think I'm pretty
catchers.
sure I remember those. I think I know the exact models you're talking about.
But more recently with Age of Sigmar, the INF, or as I call them, the fish elves,
Yep.
um,
Fish
came out.
elves.
I, I saw some of their character models, like the guy with the squid, the octopus on him,
Yeah.
like writing on his clipboard and stuff like that. And some of the other characters they've got, I have no idea their names at all. But I just thought they were bonkers, and I thought I'm going to get them because they're just so crazy. The
Yeah.
whole idea of going around going, "Oh, I'm a magic elf, dude, and I have fish with me. Attack fish, go!"
I,
Uh,
I saw that the new one.
crazy.
There was a new Slanesh for them. Like, what is it like the glut? It's kind of like a gluttonous guy, and they're like pulling the I don't even know what carriage. Like,
Mm.
there's people crawling. I thought that model was so cool looking.
Yeah, so like the new ones, like the new Slanesh releases they've just done. The Warcry they were showing off. Some of the Warcry stuff, like the vampire, or I think that
Yeah,
might be a different thing. But the little teams in Warcry, these vampire people that have come out recently. As I said, I have no basis of
yeah,
experience of AOS. I don't know who they are, but I appreciate a good-looking model.
yeah, for sure.
Um, and I thought, oh, these vampires, these are pretty cool. I like the look of these. I like the cut of their jib. And I've pondered maybe to pick up one or two, just as sort of, I like to call them like sorbet projects, to
Mm-hmm.
freshen the palate.
Sorbet.
Um, yeah. So I'll do something. I'm actually doing recently some models from a company called Oathsworn, which
Okay, I've
are
heard the name.
they make these. There are pictures up on Twitter. I don't know if you can find them or anything, but they're like animals, but they're in sort of like human guises.
Gotcha.
So like I've painted a rat pirate. So it's like a little rat dressed up as a pirate, 17th century with the hat and cutlass and all that sort of stuff, and a pirate otter so far. I've got a few others I do, and I'm just doing something different from what I normally do, just to break from that, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just go, especially like I learned years ago when doing like an army. It was the Minotaur Space Marine chapter, and I was painting so much bronze that I went like colorblind almost, sort of thing. Like I couldn't see any other colors, so I stopped and did something else that was completely opposite to Space Marines in bronze armor,
Yes.
and that was Eldar, or Eldar as they were called then. Iandan sort of bright yellow Wraith Knight, completely opposite direction to bronze, just to sort of get my senses back because you say you just stick with one color,
Yeah,
doing loads of models. You just sort of lose yourself in it. So
absolutely. I've experienced kind of a very similar thing doing this kind of thing. I know the feeling.
some of the stories is coming through here.
What did they say? Yeah, let me see something. Oh, wow. Thanks for chatting, everybody. I really appreciate this. So, wait, let me catch up with you. Just worried that there is already so few people who play Warhammer. A specialist game will be harder to find opponents. That may be true. I have one or two friends that would play with me, and I it was when I was younger, I didn't even care. I would make two gangs or two forces and I would fight myself, no problem. Like I was good at playing. I'd be like, people like, I don't have an opponent. I'm like, I just roll up another army. And I'm like, I don't know how it's gonna play out. I'll try things.
Yeah, I've done that myself many a time.
Oh, Soggy Chip says, gee damn, that looks sick. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, Soggy. Hello, Soggy.
I've had a Terminator Squad survive a whole 2,000 point Tau shootout back in fifth. Yeah, I remember. So it was second. I used to do. My friend had guard, and I played Space Wolves, and that was the time where like at a certain point you could take basically a whole Wolf Guard pack and Terminator armor is basically your whole army. So it's like all Terminators. So I had some crazy shootouts with that. We used to leave the models on the battlefield. That was one thing I always wanted was like model all the models in duplicate. So you have one model who's standing and fighting and you have one model when he's dead. And then when you fight and the guy dies, put the dead model in the place so you can see the battlefield littered with bodies. Pascal, where I live, okay, Wolf Lord, to my knowledge of the lore, is 90% Space Wolves and 10% random stuff. Yep. Bruce Talford says, awesome. Thank you, Bruce, for joining us. It's awesome that you joined us. 14 people. I can't believe it. All right. Thank you very much.
When you say about the Wolf Guard, Space Wolf Guard Terminators, one of my favourite victories in close combat was against Wolf Guard Terminators and Ragnar Blackmane.
Boo!
It was a friendly game with my mate Tony, and he had 4 Wolf Guard Terminators with Ragnar, and he came up and we had a fight with. I was playing Tau, and he came in and fought against 7 gun drones, and he had a fight. I survived because it was simultaneous because it was initiative was the same.
Yeah.
So I got my attacks in, and he rolled 4 1s.
Oh.
So the Wolf Guard just went bye.
Yeah.
and these gun drones are sitting there just going, ha ha!
Yeah, if you roll 4 1s, I guess I guess that's it.
And then Ragnar retreated or something, and then but it was just like a battle that shouldn't have really happened did, and the result was not the Space Wolves' favourite moment of that particular fight. Being taken out by gun drones. They're rubbish at close combat.
Yeah, the Space Wolves wouldn't appreciate that.
No, but yeah, there was what was that? So Wolf Lord Lewis, stupid story. He has a Death Leaper try to ambush his Rune Priest, but the Knight Valiant next to the Rune Priest turned around with a Thunder Coal harpoon and harpooned it, doing 26 wounds of damage. Yeah, that's going to ruin your day. Getting that. But so Aaron Matthews as well. Same battle that my normal Terminator survived the Tau shooting. He threw everything at them, survived, then left them all in combat to Fire Warriors. Survived like 100 plus 5 invulnerable saves. Lost 10 2+ saves. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, the dice gods are cruel. And again, it's like with when I'm choosing my armies for Adeptus Titanicus, I don't pay a lot of attention to the Legio's traits and special rules or whatever.
Yeah.
because dice care not for these things. So it's always nice to have these little perks and stratagems that you can use in battle, sort of thing. But I focus more on my dice rolling, and I've had some really bad instances of really bad dice rolling, as well as amazingly good dice rolling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always go into a game, and I don't bother about traits or anything like that. I'm more concerned about knowing how far to move, how far I can shoot, and hope for the best when I make a roll.
The best laid plans. That's I like Blood Bowl. That's another game right now that I think is putting out awesome miniatures is Blood Bowl. And I used to love that. I actually, it's one of the games I have loaded on my iPad, even though I haven't played it in a while. And it just the crazy dice rolls that happen in that game. That thing is just like such craziness happens that I've always loved it for that. I was just like, anything you could have the greatest plan on earth and it'll completely flip 360 on you and be going the other way, or 180, whatever.
I need more Titans, Bruce. Thanks. Yeah, see you later, mate. Thanks for
Thank you
dropping
very
by.
much for stopping in, Bruce. And remember, anyone, if you like this, please hit the like button and subscribe and all that jazz. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, the Dice God. There was I went through a spate of having the initiative seized from me. I would get initiative, and then someone would roll a 6,
Yeah,
and it was like, and I think it was about 8 or 9 games on the trot where I had the initiative stolen. And that was going across Heresy and 40k, and I kept on getting the initiative stolen from me. The last time was I got the initiative. No, sorry. I rolled something. We got confused. I think he had the initiative. I seized the initiative, and oh yeah, I don't know. And then he rolled. No, sorry. Sorry. I'll start again. He had initiative anyway.
Yep.
But then he's rolled for initiative to seize it, and I said, "Oh, why can you seize it? You already got it." I said, "Have I?" I said, "Yeah." But he rolled a 6. I said, "Oh, well, I'll seize it again." I said, "Well, I'll roll," and I rolled. And it was a 6. I said, "No, I'll have that. Thank you very much." So he's like, from the confusion of him not realizing he had first turn anyway and rolling for initiative. And then I rolled for initiative and stole it off him anyway. So it was like, that was the end of the run of bad luck. So that was against, that was my Iron Warriors versus Dark Angels against my friend Matt Potter. And that was a fun game, even though he did hurt me lots with his knight and some really nasty tanks. The Vindicator, laser Vindicators, destroyers, Vindicator destroyers, or whatever it's called, where they do like a Death Star thing. If they don't move, they get to fire twice and stuff.
Okay,
and,
yeah.
It just plows through your tank's armor and stuff like that. So, oh, that didn't stay around for long, did it?
Yeah.
Right.
A few more things. Someone, I think Wolf Lord asked, "What is it? A laser?" Okay, on his shoulder pads, what kind of weapons do those shoot? Is it like straight lasers, or is it like?
They're las blasters.
Okay.
So they're a Reaver grade weapon on their shoulders. So the Reaver comes with a las blaster. Good range in AT. Out the laser weapons, it's probably it has one more shot than a turbo laser does, but turbo laser isn't penalised for long range shooting, whereas anything over 16 inches in AT, you get a -1 with las blasters. So you get more shots, but it's you've got a -1 to your hits at range.
Okay.
But with Warlords, because they're paired, they only shoot down a straight corridor directly in front. So that's why you never want to be directly in front of a Warlord, because it's going to hurt you.
Wow, I would I'm going to read a couple chats. what does he say? Going to have to. Oh, he's dropped out. That was nice for him to stop in. Pascal, for anyone with a homebrew forces, how deep do you go into the history, tradition, and composition of it? I'm sure some go really deep. I think to me that would be, however, like as deep as you need to go to keep having fun.
Hmm.
Um,
There was well something you was mentioning earlier about you're waiting for January's White Dwarf. When you
yeah,
get it, I'm actually in it.
are you?
Um, yeah, when I was talking about the Titans Owners Club, they done a feature of the Titans Owners Club last walk, and my Reaver Titan Iracundus is like the main picture on the thing.
Very
There's a few
cool.
other which I had no idea of, apart from when a friend of mine got his copy early and messaged me and said, "You're in White Dwarf." I went, well, I am.
Yeah.
So he was in there, but um, with the sort of backgrounds, I've written sort of about a 10,000 word background detailing his origins up until sort of the Siege of Terror. Um, so people, it's a creative thing, writing at the end of the day. So if you've got an idea for a model and you want to give it a good sort of like bit of meat behind it,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with writing 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 words to sort of give that story to it, because it's something personal to you. But then there's people out there that will happily read those sort of things
See,
because
and that's something I never really shared hobby. I mean, you'd have a couple friends that played, but I was never into like going just meeting random people for a game or whatever. Or even
hmm,
it's just weird. I would just do everything almost in my own head. I was like, oh, this is cool, and and so and that was one of the things for like sharing with this community like over the last year. It's kind of like, oh well, duh. That's why it's like the company does $1 billion because a lot of people do the same thing. You know what I mean?
hmm.
It's like, so it's been fun because it's even these conversations is a chance for me to like get back into the lore, learn some stuff, have a little fun, and get a paint over done. So it's been a blast interacting with everybody.
Yeah, you say it is a community at the end of the day. Yeah, it's you know you doing this, or me painting up a Titan and putting it up
Yeah.
on Twitter, sort of thing. It helps to sort of inspire people's imaginations and think, you know what, I want to do something like that,
Oh,
or
for sure. That's what
you know,
that's what inspired all this was just seeing everyone's paint jobs on these minis. I was like, oh my gosh, it's incredible.
he's such a fantastically creative hobby that we have. Um, yes, it has its annoying parts, especially at the moment where trying to get hold of your models that you've ordered, or
Yeah,
paint
yeah,
supplies and stuff like that. But on a whole, I think most people have been able to sort of, you know, we've had to deal with the situations that there's going to be delays and stuff like that.
hmm
And if you've got something else to do in the meantime, once it turns up, then you get that little bit of excitement because the postman's been
yeah,
and
yeah,
some new project to work with, sort of thing. But yeah, it's been. I know, like I've got a few friends who live out in the States where they've ordered stuff at like pre-order days
yeah,
for like models. They've taken time. I know, like over here, this whole Brexit thing is crazy,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
and that's not helping because obviously we've got to try and sort out, you know, pay out extra for deliveries and receiving and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that, which is just frustrating to say the least. But yeah, there are good suppliers, or friendly local gaming stores that may have stuff. Searching the internet, I've ordered over lockdown. I've ordered from several really good sort of friendly local gaming stores, like online, to get hold of what I'm after. Um, and that's the beauty of the hobby. There's so much of it out there, and you should be able to find something to sort of tick your box
Yeah,
and
it's
keep you
true because
keep
even
you
if you like
happy.
reading and writing, or it's like there's people doing like the voice acting for the on like cold open stories and everything, which I
Yeah.
was really impressed with the quality of those like productions over with them. That was super cool. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a creative. I don't know, everything's going on with it.
There's actually, have you ever seen Richard Boland's work on YouTube with he animated Hell's Reach?
Oh
Um,
no, I have not.
check if you search under Hell's Reach on YouTube, and Richard Boland, he's actually working for Games Workshop now with their
Okay.
animation series. He actually took the audio of Hell's Reach by Aaron
Yeah.
Dempsey Boland, another sound name to check for him, um, and animated it. And you can see his progress from where it was a really basic sort of
Yeah.
very rough black and white, and through all the episodes. I think it's like 10 episodes he's done, and each one gets
Yeah.
longer and more intricate and more sort of dynamic. And it's fantastic because you're getting the story of
Yep.
this epic battle during the War of Armageddon, and you're seeing it played out. And it's like, it doesn't matter how it starts off, how crude it looks there. With each episode, he's mastering his art and his craft, and he's putting more into it. And eventually, you've got some really dynamic scenes that he puts to the actual story as it's being
Yeah,
told.
I think that's the thing that caught me the biggest off guard about this community is like people are like so supportive and like understanding of you like learning. I think because a lot of it is because everyone was painting, and not everyone starts out as some great painter, so you got to like practice and grow and go from there. And so I think
Mm.
the community understands that, and like even me, it's like I have a chance to grow, and people even watch this kind of thing, and I think it's very supportive of people who are like trying new things, and that's like I'm grateful for it, and I know there's like other people in the community who feel the same way.
Yeah, it's like you do get some good sort of hobbyists out there that support other hobbyists. As I said, like uh, Greg, who messaged earlier on, he's been um, well in the past week. He's built and painted like 4 or 5 Titans for his AT thing, and where he's been using my like sort of little tutorials, but he's been messaging me as well and asking questions. And I'm not one to like ignore somebody.
Yeah.
I don't mind talking to people if they've got if they spend the time to message me, I'll answer. Um, but he's been really it's been really good to see him sort of get it out and do so much in such a short time, and getting sort of a good sort of result from how he's
Yeah.
painted them as well, because it's boosted his ego by finally getting something built and painted, because up until then it's taken him like 2 years to get a couple of models built and painted,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
he's done 4 or 5 in a week practically,
yeah.
um, with this like new sort of methods and techniques sort of thing. Because say we by watching these sort of videos and watching other sort of Twitch streamers or YouTubers, you learn stuff.
Absolutely.
The painting tutor, a guy called Tommy Suley, or Soil. I can never get pronounce his surname. Sorry, Tommy. He does a lot of sort of like free to air sort of tutorials, and he goes right into it, giving you sort of a proper sort of instruction on how to do certain techniques and stuff. And watching these things, you can only learn from them at the end of the day, and that's going to help your own sort of skill set, because you say like um,
It
watching
even
other people work, you
it
can pick up
even
little tricks.
translates. I'll watch some of the people paint miniatures, and it translates very well into what I'm doing. Like in a way, all I'm doing is adding. It's like painting with layers, but my layers are going behind the model and in front of the model. So
Mm.
it's very much the same thing. It's like you're layering on color and you're trying to achieve depth. So it's very similar. And just watching how some of those people tackle it on the miniatures gives me ideas of how to do that same thing digitally.
Mm. Exactly. So you learn. You always have to learn with the hobby, and whatever you do. To be honest with you,
It's very
um,
true.
Pascal, 13 episodes of um, Hell's Reach.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's totally worth watching that. The Exodite trailer was pretty amazing. um, But yeah, and also in Hell's Reach, you actually get to see an Imperator Titan
Oh yeah.
strutting its stuff for Legio Invigilata, which was just like, oh wow, that is just seeing that, and when you've got the audio playing as well,
Yeah.
it was just fantastic to see. This Imperator Titan just walking through a city, just going, "Don't I look magnificent today?" Yes, you do. Oh
Yeah,
dear, it's fantastic.
they have that like almost pageantry, even like the
Mm.
Space Marines. I always like that, just that gaudy, like extra pageantry of it all and the back
Oh,
banners and everything.
well, that's the thing I like about Titans, is they are, well, a lot's changed from pre-heresy to
Yeah.
post-heresy. So their sort of ability to do things on their own has been greatly reduced.
Okay.
Um, but then it was basically a deal that was made to solve a problem between what was happening on Mars and the loyalist fabricator Locum, who was now the fabricator general. It's in a short story called The Binary Succession, by David Annandale, I believe, which is one of the trying to think. Yeah, I can't remember which one it was actually in. What
No,
um,
you know more than
anthology?
me on all that stuff.
But it's their autonomy has been greatly reduced, but they don't have to answer any calls unless they want to. So you can
Okay.
basically, any sort of Imperial commander, Space Marine commander, whoever, if they want Titan support from a Legio, they have to petition it and
Okay.
basically say, "Can we have your help here, please? We're in a bit of a sticky situation,
Yeah.
and we would like you to help us and come to our aid." And that Titan Legio has the right to say, "No, we're not. We've got other things." But a lot of the time, they go, "Yeah, I can schedule you in for next Tuesday,"
Yeah. We can get there
and
sometime.
yeah, and they'll go, and it's just that thing where you have this, representative of the Legio speaking to this Imperial commander, and like this Imperial commander's going like, "We need your help, we need your help," and all that, and then this like emissary just goes, "The Legio Ignatum walks on this planet," and it's just like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
know.
um,
Sometimes it's just those little one-liners, you know what I mean? Just those like that really paint the picture.
yeah, and as I say, Titans are just. Oh, I know you always get like the debates. Oh, it's just a big walking robot and whatever, but they are such an awe-inspiring sight on a battlefield. Like you can imagine sitting there. Like the recent book for the Siege of Terra, Mortis, they released the artwork where you have this Imperator, which is I think meant to be the Dies Irae, which
Yep.
is like the legendary Legio Mortis Imperator Titan. And he has these other little Titan Warhounds and Reavers running alongside it. And in front of it, you've got a line of Imperial soldiers, guardsmen, just standing there, like shooting their las
Yeah,
rifles,
you got
like
your little
going,
las cat. You got your little
"Ah, we're gonna
las gun
die."
going.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Um, you know, it's just seeing one and it's on your side, is, that's going to really sort of help your morale. But when you see that thing coming towards you, that's when it's fun time.
Time to go. Gotta go.
Yeah. Grab your hat, we're off.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. God engines. Yeah, the Imperator was a walking church. Yeah, it's, apparently, fun fact, the Dies Irae, which is, as I said, the legendary Mortis Imperator, apparently doesn't have one. That's why it's not as tall as its counterparts, because they're meant to range between 43 meters to sort of like 55, 60 meters tall. That's including the cathedral. But it was always sort of said in the lore that Dies Irae, which is only 43 meters, is because it hasn't got a cathedral on its back. Or it didn't.
Oh.
It has now in the artwork. Warlord Lewis would feel like they would still take orders from Bjorn. Simply, I'm not going to stop saying how awesome a writer Aaron Dempsey Bowden is, but he wrote a story called Emperor's Gift, and it goes about tells a story about the Grey Knights. It has space wolves in there, and it has one of the best scenes in any book I've ever read involving Bjorn, the Fell-Handed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it on here, but the book was worth it just for that scene where he turns up. Because it's the effect of Bjorn on normal mortals and Astartes.
Yeah.
Because he walked in the time of the Emperor. And it has that sort of gravitas when you've got somebody like this person has been in the presence of the God Emperor of the Imperia, and he's standing before you in his dreadnought plate.
Yeah, and I had that miniature. I used to play. He was a great, second edition is when I played with him, but yeah, he was great on the battlefield too.
Yeah. Well, Space Wolf dreadnoughts are just phenomenally deadly. The last time I fought my friend, he had like was it Murder Fang, which is one of the new venerable dreadnoughts, and he's got a shield one arm, and then he's got this really nasty claw or an axe, in his other hand.
I love shields, and I seen someone. I mean, obviously people have done it, but I haven't seen too many. Like I think someone had, I don't know if it was an armiger or whatever else, and they had a big shield on it. And I was like, oh god, that's so cool,
Lancer,
man. Like,
there was a Forge World Knight, which is the Lancer, which has got a shield. But I've seen some people.
I didn't know they actually made it with. Okay, cool, good to know.
Yeah. A Lancer with its shield and pointy stick, so it's like a Spartan, basically.
Yeah.
But there are converters, and again with a normal sort of Questoris Knight, they've got this like 3D printed, like really ornate sort of like slab of steel that is holding there to batter people apart with the thing. But with that Murder Fang dreadnought, when I was fighting it, I damaged him, and I got to choose like the weapon choice sort of thing, where it's you lose a weapon, and he chose the axe, and I thought, cool, he's only got the shield. I know he's going to be able to save, but he's not going to be hurting me as much. But the shield had a weapon skill like AP3 as well. So I'm like, wait a sec, you're killing me with a shield. How insulting!
Shield punch.
Oh yeah, it was as formidable as the axe. Yeah. And you know, like when you're in a game, you're really hard pressed, and you get the chance to remove a deadly weapon from your opponent's hand, only to find the other thing he's got is deadly, and it's not a weapon.
Yeah, it's not even a weapon, and it's deadly.
Yeah, that's meant to be saving your life. We does that, and it
Pascal
hurts.
says Jump Pack Dreadnought is also just ridiculous, amazing. I didn't know they had a Jump Pack Dreadnought now.
Yeah, the Blood Angels.
Oh wow!
Because the Blood Angels love a jump pack,
Yeah, yeah,
and sticking one on a dreadnought.
yeah.
It's
Of
fantastic.
course.
Fun fact: before the time of Rogue Trader, Terminators could have jump packs as well.
Mm-hmm. I actually
So
remember. I still got some of the old White Dwarfs when they were coming out with all the rules. I loved it. I love the old penal legions where they used to have the bomb collars and then they'd be running around and they're like blowing their heads off, and I was just like, oh man, that was like my kind of my kind of game. Like I love I said it yesterday too, the old thud guns. I loved how
yeah,
those the templates were just so like quirky. You know, it's like it lands here and then you roll the number and the next one lands there and then roll it. It's
yeah.
like all attached. Those were
It's
so
like
cool.
one of my favourite weapons within the sort of 40k universe belongs to the orcs, and that's the shock attack gun.
Yeah, that was funny.
Because
Wolf Lord Lewis, we were talking about that exact gun.
the shock attack gun, the original story when they're telling them how they specially train snotlings to
Yeah,
dive into black holes.
yeah,
So and it doesn't matter what sort of hole it is. There's
yeah,
been reports of snotlings jumping down the barrels of their cannons
yeah.
because they think they're going to find a tasty squig at the end.
That's just what they do.
Yeah, but yeah, the whole idea of having like creating a warp portal from one end into a Titan or even somebody's personal
They
armor.
did Dreadnought. Yeah, you could do it into Terminators and then have them all in there. Yeah, you could get right into almost anything. I think.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, Wolf Lord was saying about the Murder Fang has two giant claws. It must have been the venerable version. He had a shield and an axe or something.
Oh yeah, I
But
remember. That's a cool model. I painted one of those over too.
it was Cyphers Kane model. Oh, I don't know. I know they've done what's his face Eisenhorn. They've done that model recently. I
Yep.
didn't know if they've done a Cyphers Kane model at all. Wolf Lord Lewis. They That's the thing with book characters. You don't often get a corresponding model for a lot of them. Obviously, you have like the gaming side where you have their characters, and then people authors write about them. But characters in other series don't often get rules. The only one that I can think of off the top of my head was Uriel Ventris of the Ultramarines Fourth Company in Graham McNeil's Ultramarine series. In one of the books, they actually did. I think it was probably about fifth edition, maybe sixth. They actually put at the back. They had Uriel Ventris's stat lines, so you could actually play him. The only other actually character I know that came from sort of outside was the Tau Fire Warrior Shazla Kaias from Fire Warrior, the computer game, and
Oh yeah.
accompanying book. They actually done a character data file for him, and also how to make him. Because you had to buy when Games Workshop used to sell bits, you could buy the individual bits from
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
character and that character, and you put it onto a Fire Warrior, which was that was really cool, and he was a really cool idea as a character as well.
yeah. I think the last one's for you. The last message on
Yeah,
there.
Office. Yeah, yes,
I
Office.
remember.
I'm still talking.
What was the? Oh, you might have been around for this. I don't know what experience you have. What was it? It was a video game. I played it on the Commodore 64. Was it Space Crusade? I
Yes.
remember. Yeah, that was such a quirky, cool. That was when I first like. I was like, man, this would make a great video game. That was a cool, fun time.
Well, Space Hulk was the first sort of edition, and then they made Space Crusade and like Hero Quest as well came out at the same sort of time. So Hero Quest being like the sort of like the fantasy side
Yeah,
of things, and then obviously Space Crusade being the sort of simplified, sort of trying to get younger players involved sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
version of Space Hulk, basically. But yeah, say like Space Hulk, Space Crusade, Hero Quest, Advanced Hero Quest. There was so much love for those sort of games. That's why they were really new editions of like Space Hulk back in 2009 and
Yeah.
2012. And was it the Hero Quest? They're reissuing that as well, aren't they? I'm sure they're redoing that. I might have
They've
been,
been redoing a lot, so that's probably
yeah.
going. That's probably doing it. I think I'm going to end up calling this one good, man.
I think it's slightly better than good, to be fair. That is pretty damn fantastic, and that's the sort of thing you would expect to see in one of the Forge World sort of books,
Yeah.
codexes, or Forge World sort of black books, to see something like that, because that is
Yeah, you took a
from
great. I love the photo angle. I'm trying to. I just been pressed for time. I want to get some, just like I'm going to make a page of like tips for photography for these kind of paint overs and stuff. Because when people go to commission, I'm setting up my website now. I hope to have it up somewhat soon, just to kind of have a page with that for, hey, this kind of thing makes, good for paint overs and all that. And this one, I mean, just the composition and everything of this thing was so cool, man. And I was like, I love the scale, because you can put all kinds of laser fire and whatever else in. So it was a lot of fun.
it gives you something to play with,
the
that's for
old school
sure.
covers is always like so hectic and crazy, it's like you try to go with that.
Yeah, well, so that's 40K, 30K is just hectic, crazy. Everything's on fire,
Yeah.
and yeah, you either live or you die. And there's I'd rather be a Titan Princeps than an Imperial Guardsman.
Yeah.
Their lot isn't great.
They drew the short straw.
Yeah, so it was. I was playing when they done the Fall of Cadia
Yeah,
series a
the
couple of years back.
campaign or whatever. Yeah.
I was playing the local manager of the Games Workshop near where I live said, "Oh, we're going to have a massive apocalypse sort of scale game," and he got myself and a couple of friends to turn up with our Titans,
Oh
which we were more
yeah.
than happy to do.
Yeah.
And we was all on this long table. It must have been about 15, 20 feet long, this table. All the store scenery thrown on there. Our Titans, Knights. Next to me, I had these two sort of like 10-year-old boys, and they
Yeah.
had their little Imperial Guard soldiers all painted up and there.
Yeah.
And they kept on like tapping me on my arm, saying, can you help us? And I've looked down, and they've got their guardsmen there, and they're surrounded by bloodthirsters or bloodletters. Sorry, demons of corn are
Yeah.
just there, sitting there, like going nom 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 nom, and they're going, can you help us?" sort of thing. And I've looked down at them, and I went, "You know what you want to do?" He's gone, "What?" I said, "You want to fix bayonets," and because obviously fixing bayonets helps you out in any situation in like the guardsman primer.
Yeah.
And bless them, they've got their codexes out and they're looking through for a rule saying fixed bayonets.
Yeah.
And I just felt so like, oh, bless you. But it was just such a sweet situation, and they all died horribly. But I did promise them that,
It's the grim dark. Sometimes they gotta
yeah,
learn the best laid plans still get wasted.
I don't think I helped the situation when I promised them that as the Mechanicum representative, we will reproach your fallen bodies into food packs.
Yeah.
They they went, what?
DD
But
606 says, "Well done, both of you. Kept me entertained while I assemble the Killburster Orc Super Heavy." Oh, that's gonna be a cool model. That's gonna be cool. Thank you for joining us. Actually, it really helps me a lot. I got a lot to practice, so doing these kind of just gets me over a lot of things and used to speaking and hearing myself. I listened to yesterday's, and I talked like an ultra spaz, so I tried to tone it down just a little bit. And if I had a penny for every time I said like yesterday, I would be a rich man, and I'd already be in the Bahamas because I must have said like 1,000 times. So I was like, work on those two things, trim them down. I'm very happy that you joined me. So thanks a lot. That was
No,
awesome.
no worries, my
You've
pleasure, and thank you for beautifying my Titan even more.
yeah, so I was like,
That
just
is
what was around it.
amazing.
That thing was so sharp, man. I really appreciate it.
No, say it's actually, and I say getting to hang out and chat hobby with people as well, like with all the guys, even Office Painter there, with his annoying little comments. This tiny person. Like Wolf Lewis, he just mentioned that you can actually fix bayonets is actually now a rule in the game system. Where so it's stuff like that. It's from people talking and like having these little jokes and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
It filters through, and they actually go, let's do this. This is like a little payback to the community that Office is always trying to kill. But yeah, no, it's being part of this today has been so awesome, and I've really enjoyed myself, and so watching you work as well, because nobody really gets to see this sort of thing, like the behind the scenes of how somebody
I know it.
turns
Dude, I
one.
get nervous. I get nervous every time. That's probably like, whatever. Like I've made lots of bad artwork in my life. I'm like, so what? If you make something bad, who cares? You look at it and like these. So it's a good exercise for me. I'm like, and in plus two, I've been working on just talking and drawing at the same time. It still like takes a lot for me to like kind of do both at once. So this is like a great exercise. Headley
Mm.
Carter, that's amazing, pal. Thank you very much. It's an amazing model. So hopefully I just at a certain point I'm like, just don't botch it,
Just
you're
put
just
a huge
hoping not to
smiley
fail.
face
It's like, all
somewhere, it'll be
right, just
fine.
don't blow it. So please, 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 if you like this, please hit the like button. Follow me wherever you find me. And it's the it is and what's so funny is I just talked to him like late last night. I messaged him and I found him. I was like, I think I want to try live streaming 2 days in a row to see just how I do. So I asked him last night. We never talked. I was like, all right, let's try it. So it was great that he joined us, the Forge of Mars. You can find him on Twitter. So thank you very much for joining us, and I'll be doing more of these. So maybe in a day, maybe two, I'm going to try to find something else. I'm going to for my Patreons, I'm gonna do some of their models. So I gotta make a message on my Patreon, and those guys are gonna do some of the free ones for them, just as a thank you for joining me. So I'm just still in the process of getting kind of everything organized with this and trying to learn. So I really appreciate you all in the community. You gave me a lot of support, so thank you. And the Forge of Mars, anything you want to say in closing?
As I said, it's just been an awesome experience to sort of be here. As I said, chat with the guys in the chat thread has been really awesome. Hopefully, obviously, give us a follow on Twitter, and I'll follow you back. It's just you don't get to do this every day as a hobbyist.
No.
So, sitting down, talking to people is always nice.
Especially during
Talking
this
to
lockdown. I haven't got a chance really. So this is like a lot of my interaction with people right now. So it's actually kind of fun.
And I say you're talking about stuff that we are all passionate about. And as I said, you just lose yourself. And what's it like? Been 2 hours, and it doesn't feel like 2 hours. And as I
No,
say,
it
you
really
got
didn't.
everyone joining in, having a chat, having a laugh, telling stories, and watching you work. As I said, from the other week, I told you, I followed you and subbed to you as well, because this sort of thing is up my street, to see these videos and see your work going out as well. And I hope like everyone here has been really good to chat with, and maybe I'll be on one of these
Oh
in the
yeah.
chat thread
No, these have
where
been
you
working
can.
out. And I'm like, I'm like, whatever. Some of these people like do this stuff. And I was literally like, I saw your model and then I went to your profile. I'm like, oh wait, and I was like, I think I can do this one. You know, I was like, it just clicked in my mind. Excuse me. So I was like, I think I got this. And so I went to your profile and I saw you had a YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's been on cam. I'm like, okay, good enough. Like, let's try. Like, that's all I knew. I was like, I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever else. We'll go from there. I'm like, you can be guest. So thank you very much. I do have a small Discord, so if anyone sees me on Twitter and you want to invite, you can just DM me and I'll give you an invite so you can join up there. You get a little more behind the scenes or whatever. So thank you, everyone.
Oh,
Thanks again, Forge of
the miniatures
Mars, and
apothecary who was your person yesterday.
I
Just
had
popped up.
yeah. Oh, Miniature Apothecary. Thanks a lot for coming to see.
Yeah, I loved your work with his Iron Warriors with the auto cannon.
Oh yeah, he did such a great little like conversion with that and adding. I learned so much because I have some of the models, but I haven't been like assembling them or painting them. Or so, there's so many talented people doing that. It's just great to see, and that stuff inspires me. I'm a nerd, I'm into all this like whatever fantasy stuff and whatever. I just get all. And I laughed because I was so hyped up yesterday to talk to someone. I was like, I'm over talking them and everything. I'm like, go for it.
Yeah.
Uh,
I watched it, that this morning, as I said to you before we started, and you know, a fellow stripe painter there. So yeah, I can relate to his pain, but obviously, mine I used spray cans and airbrushes and lots of tape on it. So with the Iron Warriors, I done mine freehand because I did a Force of Iron Warriors many years ago as well. So I felt his pain. I was relating to him as he was telling me about his experiences with them. But yeah,
Awesome.
no,
All right. I'm going to end it here now. Thank you very much for joining us. I had a lot of fun. And in the next couple days, I don't know, I'm going to try to find some random person, I guess, to join again and try the next one. We'll be in touch if you ever want to come back. Same with Miniature Apothecary. I think in the future, I'm going to end up doing this again. I'm drawing so much that I'm like, I'll just live stream it. You know what I mean? If like
yeah.
people join, cool. If not, cool. So thank
But
you very
it's all
much,
small
Paul.
steps at the end of
And
the day.
have a wonderful day.
Yep. Thank you for having me in. Take care and good luck with getting more subs and likes.